All right, brothers, we've literally all been there. You're sitting in the control room, the shift is going smoothly, no hiccups. And then, out of nowhere, bam, the SC day pH alarms start going rogue. What's your first move? Panic? Guesswork? Definitely not. In this explainer, we're going to unpack a highly systematic red alert guide for troubleshooting the loss of pH control in equalization and pre-treatment basins. Now, even though some of these standards pull from complex biological wastewater systems, the core principles are a direct one-to-one parallel for what we manage day in and day out in UPW pure water filtration pre-treatment. Maintaining that pH is absolutely the backbone of the process. So let's get right into it and learn how to secure the system. So here's our agenda for today. 1. The red alert impact. 2. Warning signs. 3. The 4 suspects. 4. The 5-step investigation. 5. Action plans. And finally, 6. Prevention and checklist. Let's keep moving. Section 1. The red alert impact. Let's talk about why this is a high-level crisis. Okay, so the crucial point is this. When your pH drifts outside that optimal 6.5 to 7.5 sweet spot, the dominoes start falling, and they fall fast. In those physical-chemical reaction tanks, a bad pH completely ruins flocculation. Your iron or aluminum coagulants, yeah, they won't precipitate properly, meaning effluent suspended solids are going to skyrocket. But honestly, the real danger is downstream. A sustained pH shock, we're talking anything under 6.0 or over 8.5, will totally inhibit aerobic enzyme activity and kill off those sensitive microorganisms. This basically slashes your actual sludge age, forcing you to choose between seeding new sludge or risking some severe effluent standard violations. Look, this isn't just a minor sensor blip, it is a total process threat. Section 2, identifying the warning signs. Let's look at the physical symptoms. Your system is going to talk to you well before it completely fails. You just have to know what to look for. Check out your basins. Are you seeing this weird white porous foam? That's a huge red flag for strong alkalization, meaning your pH is likely pushing past 9.0. What if you're seeing brown or gray foam, or maybe a yellowish tint to the water? That's acidification and dissolved metals right there, meaning your pH is tanking below 5.0. On your screens, you're going to see chemical usage spiking by a crazy 30 to 50% above normal, and your control valves will be hunting wildly, just swinging from 0 all the way to 100%. You might even catch some really strong, localized chemical odors near your dosing pumps from leaks or overflows. If you see these signs, they are literally screaming trouble. Section 3. Categorizing the root causes. Okay, let's break down where these failures actually come from. When you're in the thick of a crisis, it's super easy to just assume the absolute worst, right? But what's really fascinating here is the historical data. Our experience shows us that a massive 60% of these incidents stem simply from the measurement equipment itself. We're talking basic stuff like sensor aging, calcium scaling, or a dry junction. Another 25%? That's hardware issues, specifically dosing pumps or mixers failing, which means only about 15% of the time is it actually an automation failure or a bad batch of chemicals. Knowing these odds gives you a massive, massive advantage when you start troubleshooting. Now this matrix right here, it's an absolute lifesaver, brothers. It's basically our cheat sheet for categorizing the failure. If the pH values on your screen are frozen or jumping all over the place, this guy tells us to grab a portable meter and cross-check it instantly. If you suspect the pumps or mixers because you're seeing abnormal pressure or zero flow on the meter, you've got to get out there on the floor, observe the sight glass, and physically check those diaphragms. If the valve is hunting, well, that might be your PID tuning acting up, so we pull those 24-hour SCADA logs and test the manual mode. And lastly, if it's the chemicals themselves, we check the tank levels, look at the color, and test the concentration right there on site. Section 4. The 5-step investigation process, moving from observation into action. The absolute golden rule here is this: never, ever skip a step in this diagnostic process. We have to move chronologically. You start with the easiest checks and work your way up to the most complex. First, compare your 3 pH sources. Second, check your calibration logs and the physical electrode itself. Third, go physically verify your chemical levels and pump flow. Fourth, pull out that multimeter and test the 4 to 20 milliamp signals going from the sensor to the PLC. And fifth, only after you've ruled out all the physical world stuff do we open up the automation logs and inspect the PLC PID tuning. Zeroing in on step 1 for a second, when you're comparing your SCADA online reading to a portable handheld meter or even indicator paper, what you're really looking for is the offset. If you notice a gap bigger than 0.3 to 0.5 units over a sustained period between what's on your screen and what's in your hand, boom, you immediately flag that online sensor as your primary suspect. Section 5. Targeted Scenario Action Plans. We found the problem, now let's fix it. Let's start with Action Plan A, dealing with a rogue sensor. In those first 30 minutes, your emergency priority is to protect the biology. Switch to manual mode immediately and dose based on your portable pH readings. You absolutely cannot let the pH just sit outside that 5 to 9 range for more than half an hour. Over the next 1 to 8 hours, go pull the electrode. Give it a good clean with dilute HCl for inorganic scale or pepsin for organic fouling, and then run a standard 2-point calibration. Long term? Well, if that electrode is over 12 months old, or if its response time is dragging past 60 seconds, toss it and replace it. And hey, if this happens a lot, definitely consider installing redundant sensors. Now, if your investigation pointed to hardware, we roll right into Action Plan B. In the emergency phase, swap to your standby pump instantly. Don't have a standby? Get out there and manually dose the mixing basin according to your quick reference chart, but make sure you keep those mixers running. Short term, the protocol calls for a teardown of that pump. Check the diaphragm for tears, check the one-way valves, and crete out the Y strainer. Looking long term, the plan strongly advises replacing those diaphragms every 6 months proactively. Oh, and make sure you have cross-check flow meters installed on your dosing lines to catch this stuff early. Moving on to Action Plan C. Let's see how we handle things if the brain of the system, the software, or PID control, is acting up. Your first 30 minutes require you to lock that SCADA set point to stop any unwanted interference and switch control completely over to the local manual panel out at the basin. Over the next few hours, have the automation team test the 4 to 20 milliamp feedback and inspect the PID program blocks. Long term, you're probably going to need to retune the PID using the Ziegler-Nichols method. And this is absolutely crucial. Set an appropriate deadband of plus or minus 0.1 to 0.2 pH units. That is what stops that continuous destructive valve hunting. Section 6, Emergency Checklist and Prevention. Because preventing the next crisis is what makes a master operator. Brothers, this is it, your ultimate rapid response checklist. The second that alarm hits, you switch to manual at the basin, you cross-check with your portable meter, and you notify your shift leader. Boom, boom, boom. Then you verify your chemical levels, log the events, and pull physical lab samples immediately. But here is the most important part. Monitor the downstream biobasin continuously. Securing that downstream biological basin is just as important as stopping the immediate dosing leak. Honestly, this checklist deserves a permanent spot right there on your control room wall. And that brings us to the golden timeline for preventative maintenance. I promise you, if you stick to this schedule, you'll stop 90% of these incidents from ever happening in the first place. Every 2 weeks, clean those pH electrodes. Every month, perform a proper 2-point calibration and back up your PLC program. Every 3 months, tear down and inspect the pump check valves and the Y strainers. And every 6 months, replace those pump diaphragms and retrain your entire team using this exact troubleshooting manual. If you take away absolutely nothing else from this explainer, let it be this golden rule of water operations. Do not blindly trust a single online sensor. Always, always cross-check with a portable meter. Your SCADA system is a brilliant assist tool, but at the end of the day, your field judgment as an engineer is final. Don't ever forget that. I'm going to leave you with a question to chew on today. Go look at your plant right now. Are your 7 to 10 day chemical safety stocks genuinely full? Are your backup sensors clean, calibrated, and truly ready for the next red alert? Because you definitely don't want to wait for the alarms to start screaming to find out. Check your emergency readiness before your next shift even begins. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, brothers. Stay sharp and keep those systems perfectly balanced.